So the mode of practice, how we, what kind of technique we practice, leads to another question. Is at the end, what the relationship between teacher and students, and between students actually as well, because there is the Senpai Kohai relationship. Senpai Kohai basically means that someone with more experience than you is your senpai. It's not a matter of level or grade. You can have a lesser level than a partner, and you can still be his senpai if you practiced for longer, or if you've been in this specific dojo for longer. It means that when you arrive in a dojo, you are a kohai anyway, because no matter your level, because you have to know how it works, what is the relation between people, and that's probably one of the most difficult things to apprehend, to understand for a foreigner in Japan. There is this aspect of senpai-kohai relationship, well, basically based on respect, and there is the relation you have with your teacher. So, well, are you friends with your teacher? I am pretty sure plenty of you watching this, you consider that you have a friendly relationship with your teacher. Not in Japan. Your teacher is not your friend, and he will never be. A teacher is a teacher, is a model, he has a role, he will never be your friend. That's a matter of respect, how the Japanese society see respect between a teacher and a student, a senpai and a kohai. This kind of relationship changes everything at the dojo, because when your teacher says something, even if he is wrong, you're sure he's wrong, some of your partners, dojo mates, they think he's wrong, you just shut up and say, yes, thank you, sensei. You never criticize your teacher. And if you never criticize him, even outside of the dojo. If you criticize him, then you can leave. You can stop his class, go to another dojo or another class. Basically, if you start criticizing a teacher, you're going to be an outsider and probably kicked off the dojo or the group at some point. The teacher is the main authority, and there is nothing you can do to change the relationship you have with your teacher. It's not specific to Budo, it's specific to Japanese culture. Would be the same at school, for example. This relationship you create with your teacher, of course, evolves. At the beginning, the teacher doesn't know if you're going to stay or not. So it's going to take time, a lot of time, months, maybe years, until your teacher trusts you. And it's only when the teacher starts to trust you that it will start really teaching you. And everything will change. You're going to get beaten. You're going to really suffer on the mats from that point, because your teacher will try to extract everything he can from you. And that's how you learn in Japan. And it's connected to the previous point about practicing. Practice, 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 no talk, no technique. It's the same thing. The moment your teacher decides he starts really teaching you, then it becomes interesting and it becomes a lot harder. And I think that from my perspective, after months of going to the same class with the same teacher, he started to punch me in the face during some classes. At first I thought, whoa, it's maybe overreacting, no? But no, he's just pushing me and trying to get the best of me. So this relationship you have with your teacher is conditioning if you can, if you do really practice and learn from the dojo or not. And it makes a huge difference between casual practitioners who never really learn anything and just do casual practice once or twice a week, and those really serious about practice who can learn and go to the next level. something you won't have, maybe a little, but not to this extent in the West, where the teachings have to be equal, the same for everyone. This is something that really doesn't exist in Japan, and the teaching really depends on the relationship you have with your teacher.
We have some similarities in judo. You talk about the relationship between the senpai and the kohai, and you say that when you enter for the first time in a dojo, you're a kohai. It's not exactly true, I would say, but for sure, like when you go to the university and you do judo, you have to do seiza, and on the top left you have the senpai, on the right the kohai. Foreigners after the kohai. You're not even kohai, and they don't care about your level, they don't care about how down you are. No, they don't care about that. You're after them, so that's it. But also for the trust about the teacher and the students, first, we don't talk to the teachers at all, for sure. Especially if you don't speak Japanese. But even if you speak Japanese, it's not the thing that you are going to do. You see the Japanese themselves, they're not talking to the teacher, so definitely for you, you're not going to talk to the teacher too. And last, I think like in Japanese they say Ishoken mei. It's try to fight as hard as you can. Don't be like, it's not a good thing to go in the dojo, especially as a foreigner, and try just to see and not try to use all your strengths, all your power, all your stamina. They want you to sweat definitely, to show that you put all you have, because this is the way in judo actually to evolve. So if you do that for a while, the teacher, I think, is going to come to you and maybe correct you if you see something, or trying to improve you. And also, I've also seen like all the students, they can talk to the foreigners sometimes and say, yeah, I really like your move, let's exchange. So yeah, well, my advice is try to do your best all the time, not waste it.
Regarding kendo, actually, I would say that globally this Kohai Senpai thing is really not that strong in Japan compared to what you could experience and to what we can do in France. At least in the local dojos where I used to go at the beginning. In that case, usually actually your dan is usually more important than your experience in the dojo. That is, once you've been accepted in the dojo, usually you will get the place your dan allows you to be. The one difference in my experience was university. At university it was pretty different and much more strict. At university, dan was absolutely has no importance. It's the year. In Japanese university, you have 4 years until graduation, and you will be with the students of the same year, and dan has absolutely no importance. And since I was only for 1 year exchange, I was going for my master degree. I was older than most other students in the club, but they considered I was first year, so I was at the bottom. I didn't really mind, but that's a good thing for your ego. Regarding the relationship between teachers and students, I really agree with Jordi. Something he said really is really important, I think, and really struck me also the first time I came here. In France, I can see that teachers, they kind of try to treat everybody the same way. You know, we have this kind of equality thing going on. In Japan, it's really not the case. Really not. It doesn't mean that people will be left alone. I mean, everybody is welcome to come and train, but they really make a difference if you're training hard, if they can see you're training hard, or if you're not. And as Jordi said, if people that just come to train casually, well, they're welcome, but that's all. If you come and you train hard, even if you're a stranger, and it's often the case for strangers because we came here, we learn Japanese, we live in Japan, really far away from our countries and our culture and so on. So if we did all that, usually it's to train hard. And teachers, they notice that. And really often, if you do so, you will have a lot more attention than many other students, actually, which means you will sweat a lot more too, and it will be much harder sometimes, but it's really a good thing, and that's when you will learn a lot. But it's true that you're not treated equally in a dojo, really not, and that's also, yeah, really important difference. That's particularly obvious in Kendo because, as I said earlier, you have Jigeko, you have a lot more Jigeko with your teachers, and that's a more important part of the practice. So teachers, a lot of things you will learn is from Jigeko, not from technical training. So the relationship between teachers and students is stronger. You spend a lot of time one-on-one. And that means the relationship between teachers and students is maybe a little less friendly, but actually a lot stronger often.
I've seen students destroyed by a bad experience with their teachers, and I've seen teachers ruined by some of their students leaving. It was life. I mean, no bad feelings between teacher and students, but foreign students who had to leave and go back to their country and stuff like that. And the teachers I'm thinking about, they really took it hard. And that I agree, that there was a very strong relationship that developed between teacher and students, between actually sensei or shihan and deshi, which is this master and disciple relationship is a lot stronger, not friendly, personal relationship. Yeah, it's not friendly, but it's very strong between teacher and students. So when you have that, you really have to protect it. You really have to do everything in your power to keep this relationship alive and powerful, because it's really the essence. It's everything that makes the teaching of Budo what it is. It's the very essence of Budo. I think that's something we will talk about in another Seido talk later, because this is, if Budo is a mean of education, the relationship you have with your teacher is probably the most important thing that you can have in Budo practice. Not the techniques, not whether you're good or not. It doesn't matter. What matters is the relationship you have with your teacher. I think at least Japanese teachers see it this way.
I think one of the reasons for that is that teachers, when you've chosen them, because the student is choosing the teachers in Japan, not the opposite, of course. And once you've chosen them and you've stayed with them for a while, then they come to accept you. They recognize your valor and they want to train you. Then they feel kind of responsibility in return. I've had this experience with some of my teachers. I don't really train regularly with them anymore. Maybe I'm gone, maybe I'm back to France and so on, but they still keep to ask around about me. They still ask me if they see me again, they ask me if I practice, where, why, and if I can train again with them. They're always really happy that I come again, because I think they feel that they have a responsibility in your training, and that's what also makes this relationship personal. They really think like the link is, if you don't do anything to destroy that link, this link is for the whole life, kind of. It's really important.
Now, another thing Jean-François said, he remembered me what Alexander Bennett said during the interview I've conducted a few months ago. When you're a foreigner in Japan, sometimes you often get a lot attention, and sometimes more than you expect, more that you'd like to. So it can be good or bad. Actually, until you accept it as a member of the dojo or as the deshi of this specific teacher, it can be bad. But once you're accepted, it's usually in a very good thing. It means you can get a lot more than what the average Japanese people can get. I think about what Kimura Sensei, a Tendo-ryu teacher, told me a few weeks ago in the interview about foreigners having something that Japanese don't have in Budo practice. This will of overcoming any challenge and making really the best of the time they have in Japan. So I think one thing she probably didn't get is that all the foreigners who come in Japan for Budo, they come for Budo. So you get the best of the French, Americans, and the best of the foreigners coming here to practice Budo.
The most motivated, anyway.
Yeah, the most motivated. If you take the average practitioners, you probably get the same in France and here in Japan. Of course, it's a bias. And then probably if they think about it a little, they would not say that foreigners have something special. But anyway, this bias exists and it gives the foreigner a huge opportunity to get a lot more than the average Japanese practitioner from Japanese teachers. And if you know how to use that, if you know how to behave with Japanese teachers, and you give the best of yourself, well, you can get amazing things from Japanese teachers, really amazing things. When some foreigners say their time in Japan was ruined or wasted, it's probably for the only reason that they didn't get that they have to use the fact they're foreigners to get what they want, not try to be Japanese. That's another subject, but you have to accept the fact you're a foreigner and use it, because the teachers, they won't reject you because you're a foreigner. No, the opposite. You will get a lot of attention, and it may help you a lot getting everything they have to give, actually.